Let's talk about the sponsor message. This is brought to you by the 21-Day Challenge. If you're an entrepreneur or a high achiever, feeling stuck, overwhelmed, lost, you want more clarity, you want more purpose, you want to raise your performance up a couple notches, 21-Day Challenge is here to ignite you so you succeed like never before. You'll get crystal clear on your long-term goals, break them down into bite-sized steps, and have 21 days of one-on-one accountability and break through your BS so you succeed like never before. That's the 21-Day Challenge. If you want to join, send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com, or find me on Facebook and message me there. Next up is the iTunes review of the week, and it's by ASLD this week. And ASLD says, such an uplifting energy. Chris shines so brightly. This is a man on a mission to spread love and authenticity. I'm in awe of his commitment to having fun, creating a life of fulfillment and abundance, and supporting others to do the same. Keep up the good work, Chris. The world needs you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes and give us a review there, or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store. Thanks so much in advance for the feedback and letting us know what you love and what you want to see more of in the future. So I'm going to introduce Tiffany in just a second here. Make sure you stick around because this woman is a badass. She is just like so awesome. And we got connected recently, and I just can tell that she is out to empower everyone who comes across her path, especially entrepreneurs, especially women. She has a journey. She has a story that is absolutely going to touch your heart, and it goes deep. So make sure you stick around, grab a pen, grab paper, take notes, because this is the gold that you have been looking for. So let's introduce Tiffany, and then we will bring her on the screen. Tiffany Carter takes the mystery out of making big money while doing something you love. She uses a magnetic combination of her clear-cut communication style that she developed as a TV news broadcaster for NBC and CBS. Her business savvy and proven strategies as a multi-millionaire entrepreneur, and her intuitive ability to connect with women on a deeper level to uncover what's blocking you from achieving your dream life. And she's here to ignite you with all that goodness. Tiffany, are you ready to rock this?
Always.
Always. Oh my gosh, I love that answer. We are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for taking time to share with our audience how we can step into our abundance, more income, and just what's worked for you on your journey. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on here. This is a trip. You have so much energy.
We're going to dive in. Oh my gosh, it's going to be fun. So let's start off with the question of the day, which is take a stand. Tiffany, how does this concept of take a stand show up for you in your life? What does that mean for you?
Take a stand to me means believe in something and do something with it. So many people have opinions and even strong opinions, yet they do nothing productive with it other than maybe like complain, which isn't productive to me. So if there's something that you believe in, do something with it, with that energy, and make some shit happen. Oh, can you swear on your show?
Yes, we can.
Thank God.
I love it. Yeah, so it's like find out what ignites you, what lights you up, and then do something about it. Don't just talk about it. Don't just philosophize about it. Go out there and take action and make a difference in the area.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love it. I love it, Tiffany. Awesome. So tell our audience a little bit more about who you are, what your clients come to you for today.
So what I'm best known for, aside from being a self-made multi-millionaire, is I help people be able to create businesses out of doing something they love, but also be able to add in passive income streams that make sense with their brand and their passion. So they're not like a slave to clients or a slave to only public speaking. Even though you might love working with one-on-one clients, or you might like doing masterminds or group coaching or whatever, you might love it, but you can only make so much money. You cannot get to millionaire status without multiple streams of passive income. It's not possible. So I'm really passionate about teaching people how to do that and educating them on wealth, not just money, but actual wealth.
What's the distinction between money and wealth?
Wealth is when you have money that's working for you when you're not working. And I would like to think most of you guys listening, like, give us some love here that you want that, right? And money is, I'm trading time for money. I'm doing something for money. I'm having to do actions for money. I'm going to a job, I'm coaching someone, I'm a fitness coach and doing that, or I'm actually having to, make a product or sell something for money, right? Great wealth is you might be doing something you already love for active income, but you're making money while you sleep. That's real wealth.
That's incredible. I love it. And we're going to dive into how to do that. And first, we're going to go back into your journey, Tiffany, and talk about how did you get to where we are today? What were some of those challenges and obstacles that helped you, toughen up and develop this wealth mindset and become the multimillionaire and helping people grow their own businesses and marketing and sales and all that good stuff?
Well, I have a story that is to the liking of a really scary Lifetime movie. I use humor because I've done a lot of therapy. So I'm able to, I'm not making light of the abuse that I suffered as a child, but it's just my way of keeping a really heavy topic light.
Yeah.
So I came from a family that on the outside, I looked like I had it all, like the second wealthiest family in a wealthy town already, had a house with 2 giant gourmet kitchens, a wine cellar the size of most people's master bedroom, an Olympic-sized pool. I could go on and on and on and on. But it wasn't like that on the inside, which is what I like to remind people of. You have no idea what's going on inside someone's home, or you have no idea who someone is on or off Facebook or Instagram. You just don't know. And in my case, I was sexually abused from age 11 to 21. A lot of people are shocked to hear, like, how is that possible, like to 21? Well, when you're conditioned that that's what you're here for on this earth, you don't know any better. So this was incorporated into my life. So I had no self-worth. My worth was all based on what I could do for others. And that included everything that you can imagine, right? Whether it was doing someone's homework for them in school, or whether it was doing someone's chores for them, or a sexual favor, whether, even though it was inappropriate, that was the gig.
Right.
So I had no self-worth. And I carried that, into my professional life, which, by the way, guys, the corporate world loves people with no self-worth or boundaries.
Oh, man.
They're like, yes, we can grind that girl to the ground and she's going to have a smile on her face doing it. And that's what happened, because I didn't know how to say no. It was like, well, they're asking me. So if I want to be a valuable person and employee, my answer needs to be yes. This is what I was taught. I had no self-worth. Even if I didn't really want to do something, I was like, well, I don't have a choice. I didn't think I had a choice. So that's my background. So you guys understand, like, I had no self-worth, no self-confidence, but I knew I had a burning message inside of me to get out and a desire to be heard. Right. So I became a TV news broadcaster. I mean, before I even graduated college, NBC hired me as a newscaster. So I've always had a natural talent for communicating, especially on video. But like you were saying in your initial question, it's like I knew I had a message to get out there. I didn't know quite how or when or how I was going to do it, but I truly believe the universe was guiding me by giving me the right skill set and platforms to be able to eventually someday share my story in efforts of it helping someone else.
Wow, that's so incredible. So you had the sexual abuse that you had to, get through, and then after college, you became the newscaster. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Right. I was a TV news anchor and reporter for NBC, CBS, and then I had a syndication on CNN.
Wow.
And I made $17,000 a year, guys. So just on that. Like another situation, right? We're on the outside, just like how I grew up. On the outside, the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe, you're on TV, you're interviewing, I interviewed former presidents, celebrities. It's like, you must be making all this money. I made $17,000 a year. You'd be surprised, even in some of the top markets in the US, how low paid these people are. Wow. So I knew that if I wanted to make more of an impact on this world, that I was going to have to make more money. And that money wasn't going to come in broadcasting. Like, it's almost like similar to being an actor where like less than 1% makes it.
Yeah.
And it's not even necessarily based on talent. It's like who you know, or, that kind of a thing, or if you have a good agent. So I knew the cards were not stacked in my favor for me to make the money I needed to make to be heard, so to speak.
Wow. So what was your next evolution after the being an anchor?
So what I did is I'm looking at all my friends. I'm eating like ramen, you guys. Like I don't even think, if I had to eat ramen now, I don't know how that would go down. It might not go down well. But I I was eating ramen. I ate like lots of frozen meals, whatever. And my friends from college, right? They got company cars. They have fancy laptops paid for. They had even like a dry cleaning allowance.
Wow.
I was like, what the hell are these people doing? And they were in pharmaceutical sales. And I was always been very passionate about health in general, like health, wellness. Like I was put on like a lot of like medical type stories, as a reporter and things like that. And I gravitated to it. So I was like, well, that's cool. And look at all this cool stuff. And you get to work like from a home office, like score. Yeah. And so I quit being in the news business. I quit when I was a morning anchor for CBS. I had a 3.5-hour live show. Like how like there's the Today Show that never ends. It's like hour 5. It was like I had like a low budget version of that. It was like I was a newscaster when 9/11 hit.
Wow.
So it was like a crazy time.
Oh my gosh.
But people were shocked when I quit. I didn't even give a 2-week notice. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I couldn't do it. You're asking me to wake up at 3 a.m. for $17,000 a year. Like I can't. Like I don't even think I'd wake up for $100,000. And so I went back to California, to Los Angeles, because that's where a lot of my friends. I went to Emerson College in Boston. What's up, Emerson? So there's a ton of us in the TV business that are in LA, TV and film. So that's where a lot of my friends and contacts were. And man, I worked my booty off to get into that pharmaceutical industry. I thought I had it in the bag because I'm like, well, I was on TV. Like, isn't that impressive? No, they don't give a shit. They don't care. They want to know how much you can sell.
Wow.
And I don't really blame them, but I didn't know. So I worked my butt off to get in, and I finally got in. And it was a great career. I mean, I climbed the corporate ladder. I'm glad I had that experience, because the sales training they give you when you're in the pharmaceutical world is they invest, I think they said it was about $100,000 in sales education.
Wow.
So I started with Merck, which is a landmark company, right? So they sent me to the elite Tony Robbins stuff, the Zig Ziglar, like I'm talking the full Monty program that are $10,000, $15,000. Yep. At the time, I didn't totally appreciate it. I was like, rolled my eyes, like, oh my God, like now I have to do this. I was getting paid to go to Tony Robbins. Like I want someone to pay me to do that now, but I didn't get it. I really didn't. But the cool thing is that all that sales training and then all that practice and then climbing the corporate ladder where I was, then I was a manager, then a director, then a national sales director. No. What it did, aside from like honing my sales and marketing skills, it allows me to be very compassionate and understanding of where a lot of people are at, where they're in the corporate rat race, and understand why they want out, why they don't feel they can leave, why they're scared to leave, because there's a safety in it. Yeah. So it allows me to relate to the people I work with a whole bunch more. So I'm glad I had that experience, but I capped out. You cap out. Even in sales in corporate America, #1 salesperson, I got there. But guess what? You still cap out. There's a ceiling.
Dang.
And, well, that doesn't really work for me. What do you do once you hit #1 and you get like, your incremental, what is it, like a 2% raise a year or something like that? what do you do after you hit that? So I already reached the top and you're telling me there's nowhere further to go. Well, now now what? I have no motivation now.
Wow. How long did that take you? How long did it take you to go from starting to
from starting to number one?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. About 3 years.
That's nuts.
3 years. I mean, listen.
You're hardcore.
I'm hardcore and I'm tenacious and I'm a Virgo. I'm a very good student. Like, I trust when someone is successful at something and they tell me, this is how you do it. This is how I did it and it works. And I've done it over and over. I believe them.
Yeah.
I don't try to reinvent the wheel. Like, I might put my own style on it, but I believe them.
Yeah.
You know, like if I wanted to know how to do an amazing, successful live stream, video thing like you're doing, I wouldn't try to figure it out. I would hire you and have you tell me, right?
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
So I'm a good student in that way. Like, I know to listen to those who have come before me.
Yeah, that's powerful. Powerful. So you went through this, you got capped out, and then how did you know you were going to take the next leap? What opened up for you?
Most of us have this experience where we know we're meant for more. We know it's not lighting us up anymore, or we might not even like our job anymore or that career path. Mm-hmm. But I was scared because you guys have to understand, like, it was still, it was lucrative. It wasn't like I was making $17,000 anymore. I was probably at, with my large expense account and everything, closer to $200,000.
Wow.
As long as I kept up, right, that top sales ranking, which was a lot, right? Because as soon as you hit that, they increase your goals to make it even harder. So as long as I hit that, that's a legit amount of money, right?
Yeah.
So it was really scary to me. So that's when I developed what I call my straddling method. So that's my method of going from employee to entrepreneur. So some people use the term side hustle. Side hustle to me kind of says, like, I'm just kind of like working on some random shit on the side, right? I don't like that. We need to have a strategy in place, guys. If you really want to leave your, employment.
Right.
So that's where I came up with, the straddling method. And it's what I did along with what I could have done a little bit better, right? Because always hindsight's 20/20. Totally. And within 6 months of me starting the straddling method, I was able to press that send button on that 2-week notice, man. And it was a good feeling. It wasn't scary because I did the straddling method, meaning I made sure I had enough income coming in from my business, right? My new business. And I also saved too, right? But I made sure I had enough coming in, and I knew I had contracts signed, so I would have more income coming in, that it wasn't scary to send that. I knew I was going to be okay. And I think for personality type like mine, I have a more conservative approach. I'm not the person who's like, I just quit my job one day and I'm $100,000 in debt and now I'm an entrepreneur.
Burn the boats.
There's people who are like that, and you know what? Good for you. That's not my style. Right. I need to have like a sense of security. Otherwise, I will come across like desperado, and that's not attractive.
I love it. So what's the foundation of this straddle method? Like, is it simply just saying, hey, have something in place that's producing that replaces the amount of income as what you're working on, or is it a little bit more detailed than that?
I like keeping things really simple. Okay. Like, simple sells, complexity repels. Like, I don't like when people overcomplicate things. It makes me not trust them. Thank you to the 1,500 IT people I've employed over the years. And if any of you are listening, you know that you do that. Like, let's make it sound really complicated so they pay us more.
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't work on me anymore. Anyway, it's simple as this, right? I already parlayed some things I was good at in terms of sales. I stayed in the niche of pharmaceutical medical. Okay. I didn't like go completely off the radar to like crocheting or, you know what I mean? Something like that. I wanted out so badly, right, that I knew as long as I stayed in that niche that I was already at contacts in, it would be a lot faster.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I really wanted to like do something super random after that, I could. But I knew to do it this way. So that's also why it happened so quickly. So I already started utilizing, right, the clients I had. I was already doing this for free. I was already giving amazing marketing advice to people in the pharmaceutical industry, to doctors, etc. They just weren't paying me for it, right?
Wow.
So I then had to it was scary, but I was like, okay, I'm going to kind of do like a spot test and pick the less scary of the people out there and say like, you know, I offer this as a consulting service and I'll do this, this, and this for you. And, you know, and that's that. Oh, how much? Told them how much. Okay. Was like, what? I could have been doing this all along, you know, but I had earned their trust.
Right.
You know, I'd earned their trust and I had, you know, paid some dues for that. Yeah. So I got contracts in place. Even if some of them weren't comfortable signing a year contract, they signed like 6-month contracts.
Right.
So I knew I could rely on money, right? I knew, okay, I have a year contract unless someone, you know, filed bankruptcy or something, which by the track record of these people, the likelihood was very slim. So I knew that I would have that money set in motion. And that's what I mean by doing the straddling method. That doesn't need to be your end all goal, but if you really want out of corporate America and want to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to like go like 180 degrees, right? Just do a pivot. Do like, you know, pivot out and utilize your already experience you already have and contacts you've had, and then you can do it faster. If you don't want to do that, it just might take longer. That's all.
Yeah, that's what. There's a book called "So Good They Can't Ignore You." I don't know if you've heard of that. It's about how like there's a passion hypothesis where you when you do what you're passionate about, like everything else will work out. Like your purpose will come, the money will come, the people will come. And what they said is like the longer people work in a career, the more fulfilling they find it because they've developed the skills and the competencies to succeed at that skill, and that's fulfilling. Like when they're good at something, and a lot of people want to go a completely different direction, but what would serve a lot more is if they have spent 5, 10, 15 years in an industry, do something that's like adjacent to it. To use that experience and that the knowledge of the industry and the terminology and things like that while doing something that you love and developing more of a skill set that you really enjoy, but staying pretty close to it. That will lead to the most like highest chance of success. I
agree with you. Like stay in that niche unless it really gives you a rash, you know, like you really can't stand it. Stay in that, and then you're getting your feet wet as an entrepreneur, but in a higher chance and probability for success, right? Yeah. And I mean, listen, I still have that business. I've had that business 11 years. That's my 7-figure business. But you guys, it took me 10 years to start Project Me with Tiffany Carter. Like my personal brand that's aligned with my soul deeply. I've had the idea 10 years. I was terrified because failing at something that means something to you so deeply is far scarier than me failing at something that, you know, I'm good at and I like and I'm grateful for, but it's not like my purpose. Do you see what I'm saying?
How did you know that it was time to start Project Me with Tiffany Carter?
You know, I had a lot of conversations with myself. The idea never went away, right? So I knew I had something because the concept never went away. I continued to be refining my skills. It wasn't like my time was being wasted.
Right.
You know, it was really like, you know, they say like those come to Jesus talks. It was like, would I regret not just going for it, even though it'll be uncomfortable as hell? Would I regret this when I'm, you know, 80 years old? You know, would I be pissed at myself? Would I regret this? And the answer was yes. And it's like, then I have to do it because there is no worse feeling than regret. And I am familiar with that feeling. Very. So I knew it was like, you know what? the feeling of regret is far worse than the feeling of terrifying fear. So I just need to rip off the damn Band-Aid and do the thing already.
Yep. And can you share a little bit more about what is your mission with Project Me?
So with Project Me with Tiffany, my mission is to empower and educate as many women as possible to finding financial freedom. So they are no longer dependent on any person, any job, any client for money. That is so aligned deeply with me, because what I'm so proud for in myself is I have never depended on anybody for cash ever. So I don't look to my current fiance. It's not like it didn't matter to me when I was dating. I wanted to respect what he made for a living, right? You know, I wasn't going to date any more broke asses, but it was like I've done a lot of that. But I don't need someone for money when I have friendships or business collaborations. I don't have an agenda. It's very freeing. It's freeing that I don't have to go to corporate America. If I don't like a client or a sponsorship deal, it doesn't feel good, I can politely decline. There's such a sense of freedom in that that I want that for as many women as possible to be able to have that.
Wow, that's powerful. So with your own journey, how did you know when it was the right time to start building passive streams of income? Like, how did you know, and how did you develop those systems?
So passive income, I started developing those streams when I was in pharmaceuticals, right? Because I didn't realize you could develop passive income when you were broke. I thought because I'm sure you guys have heard this quote, the rich get richer. You need money to make money. Right. So I heard all those things so much in my life. I thought that was the gig, right? So I was like, okay, well, as soon as I make, a certain amount of money and it's in savings, then I can do something with it. So I did it that way because I didn't know any better. So passive income, for people who don't know, is making money long after your initial effort. Okay, so you're making money at all different times of the day, regardless of your involvement. But what I always like to say is that doesn't mean without any effort. You do have to put in effort. Here's what I mean. Okay, I have several stock portfolios. Those stocks are making, sometimes losing, but making me money at all different times of the day without my involvement. But do I have to have meetings with my financial advisors? Do I read stock reports? Do I read reports on certain companies that I'm invested with? That requires my participation and effort, right? But it is very little effort compared to the amount of money you can make. It's
like maintenance effort. It's like, hey, tap the screwdriver thing. Like, okay, is this working? Is this working? Okay, good to go. All right.
Right. Versus active, which is what most people only have active income, which is I only make money when I'm doing something. And that feels, you feel imprisoned and trapped. Yeah. Suffocated, scared. It brings up lots of horrible feelings, and passive income does the opposite. So I started with stocks, and a lot of people have, like, who are listening, who are in the U.S., have 401ks and stuff like that. So I don't really count that as passive income because that's deferred income. You can't get that until later in life. So I'm more so interested in, like, the now. Like, we don't know how much time we have here. So I want it now. So I started that in my 20s. I started that process and learning about it, but I wasn't really aware of all the other streams of passive income that were available until, quite frankly, about 5 years ago. Wow. I was not aware of being able to make residual income. So through network marketing is one way. Another way is affiliate marketing, where I recommend a product or I share products with people, and then I make money off that. You can have your own Amazon store and products that you use all the time. You send someone your link, that wants to know what podcasting equipment I use. Here's my link. They buy it. I get paid off that, right? Having products that are reusable, like courses, books, making, mugs with your brand on it and stuff like that. I was not aware of all these different streams, and maybe they weren't totally as available, right? Because we weren't as digital or socially exposed as we are now.
Right.
But I mean, I saw the light. I was like, oh, come to mama. I'm here. I see it. I get it. I'm on it. Yeah. And I made that such a big focus. While I was doing other things. I almost made it like an experiment. I like using that word versus saying, I'm going to do this and I have to do this. That stresses me out. I was experimenting and seeing, okay, if I put in this much effort here, how much do I make back? I put this effort up front, how much do I make back? And I really learned and fine-tuned this. So now that, you know, Project Me with Tiffany Carter's here, I can now teach other people how to do it. I had to do it myself first in order to know what works, what doesn't work, what to watch out for, because I've made some mistakes where I've lost money, right? So I had to go through all that before I would have been ready to share that. And it's really changed everything. It's what has brought me to be from a, you know, solo millionaire is what I say when I have 1 million in the bank to multi-millionaire is passive income.
That's awesome. And how do you know, or how do we as an audience know which sources to invest into? Which ones are the right fit for us? How do we create our own passive income?
That's a great question. So everyone has different strengths, different passions. And if, you know, some people have a business, some people don't. So you want it to align with your brand, with your mission. I'm certainly not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving any financial advice. My lawyer tells me I have to always say that on interviews. So I'm being a good girl and I'm saying it. But I would say this, make sure that you pick things that you're excited about, that you believe in, and make sure you really review carefully how in the hell you're going to get paid. And if it is confusing to you, maybe the first pass is confusing if you're not, you know, a numbers or finance person. But if you go over it a couple more times and you're still like, I still don't get how I'm going to get paid, dump it. That's not good. Don't do it. Not good. Right. Not happening. Because should it be confusing? No. You sell this, you do this, you get this. It shouldn't be complicated. If it is, they're hiding something. Right. And I would say one place for people to start is it's free to start your own Amazon account. So, and if you want to know how to do it, you can certainly, you know, reach out, message, or DM me, or you can just Google it. I mean, it's really simple, and you put all your favorite stuff on there, and you can start seeing how this works, you know, at a level, like, you know, it's a lower level, but just start to see how this works. It's something happens with people, even when you wake up and you wake up in the morning and you made like $2. You're like, what? I made $2. There's something cool that happens. And that's what happened to me when I saw the light. I think I made $10 off of like a referral program with someone, like recommending someone's coaching services or a coaching package who I really believed in, right? And I think I got, and I didn't get that much for this package because it was a lower package, but I think I got, like, my PayPal said like $10, and I was like, I didn't even remember talking about this thing. Yeah. And I made money off it, and I was like, okay, this is all, I see it all now. This is all happening.
It's like the light bulb goes off, that light bulb moment.
I mean, who wouldn't want to wake up and make even like $10? I mean, would you turn that down?
Heck no.
Yeah. I'm like, there we go. There's like one Starbucks coffee now. Thanks.
Right. I love it. It's so awesome, Tiffany. So I think that people get to look at what is important to them, what are the missions that they care about, and as long as and skills, the skills that they have already gained, because if someone's not tech savvy at all, maybe they have like a completely different approach, like I think it's understanding if you love writing, then maybe you create a blog and have the Amazon site as like an offshoot, or product referrals or something like that, or you represent other joint venture people's offers, coaching programs like you did, but it's like, what are your strengths and how do you play to those strengths, which makes the biggest difference.
Right. Like if you're someone who is really uncomfortable going to networking events, right, then you know that you don't want to have to make your passive income doing something that you're not into, because it's just not going to work. So you want to stay in your zone of what you like and what you're good at. And that's where magic really happens. And that's what I help people figure out, like pair it with your passion, pair it with your purpose, pair it with your brand and business. And this way you're going to get excited about it and you're going to be willing to do that work up front. And I like to keep reminding people, like, I didn't make all this in passive income by putting in like an hour or two up front. Okay. You have to put in a lot of effort up front, and then a cascading effect occurs. So I hate when people, I have a Project Me Passive income posse group that I just started. And I started it because my DMs and messages were like exploding. Whenever I'd talk about passive income, people would say, I tried this, or I tried this network marketing company for a month and I didn't even make $1 and I ended up with all these products. And I go, well, tell me exactly what you did as your upfront effort in order to get customers or build your team. And it was like 2 sentences I'd get back. Like it was like nothing. And it was like, well, my Lord, if it was that easy, like some random person in Zimbabwe would be doing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like all the, I just had this great podcast today with a dear friend of mine who's the #1 real estate broker in all of California. And I said, what is the deal with like real estate agents and brokers? There's so many of them and none of them sell a house. She goes, exactly. She's like, there's 20,000 just in San Diego County alone.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, and only 10% of them sell houses.
Wow.
And I'm like, but that's true for anything, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's true. So then people will say things like with affiliate marketing or network marketing, oh, well, it's only the people at the top. No, it's only the people who put in that diligent upfront effort, which, yes, they do end up on the top because they've done the work.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. How do people cultivate that perseverance and that drive to keep going? Like what is your go-to recommendation for that?
I mean, you really can't teach an inner drive, right? You just can't. I know that I am naturally driven.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person where I have to pull myself back because I will overwork, which also isn't good, right? That can be self-defeating. I know that's rare, right? Most people need to get themselves
step it up.
They're lazy or they get complacent or whatever that is. What I say is your why needs to be bigger than money. It can't just be around money. I love money, don't get me wrong, but it can't just be because I want to buy this car or I want to do this trip or I want to buy my dream house. Those are all great, but I promise you money's not enough unless you saw it almost immediately coming in, right? Which it doesn't work like that. There is no get rich quick thing. It doesn't happen like that. So your mind won't stay motivated because you're not seeing the money flooding in. So you need to have a deeper why, like my why, like you already asked me, right? My passion and purpose is to educate and empower women to be financially free, to not depend on any person, job, or client for cash. That's my deeper why. So when I have a crap day, I'm in a bad mood, a bad week where I'm tired, I'm not feeling it, someone screwed me over, recently someone actually was like using me for information and I thought they were a friend. I mean, lots of shit happens, right? But I still get up the next day, even if I'm cranky or whatever, and I remind myself of why I'm doing this. It's bigger than me. And that's what keeps me burning and going. If it was just about cash, I would have, I'd already be done by now, right?
Right. How do you like stoke that fire of of purpose, so to speak, the why. How did you cultivate yours? And I mean, you had some challenging, really traumatic events when you were growing up, which probably is a source of your fuel. How does someone who may not have gone through so much trauma develop that level of why?
That's true, because I do see a common thread with people who have had trauma in their lives that have, I mean, either they go one route, right? And that's, we all know what that route is. I'm shocked I didn't go that route. So there's either that route, right? Or the ones who go the other way by the grace of the universe, they go the other way. They are on a damn freaking mission and they're unstoppable, right? So I do understand that not everyone has that like strong desire to change the world, to be heard, or have this big story, right? So you need to find something that goes back to something you believe in, something that lights you up. Like, what is that one thing that when someone brings up that subject matter, it could be politics, it could be something in the religious sector, it could be something that's going on in the world, or some myths that you think are such bullshit, whatever it is, something that lights you up, that like a friend brings up at dinner, you overhear someone at a coffee shop and you get all like fired up. Like, what is that thing? And you need to zone in on that thing and find a way to work it in to your passion. Because some people will then go, well, my thing lately with all the shit going on in the world is politics, but I have, an online jewelry store. Like, how in the hell does that match, right? And it's like, you need to take that passion for politics, whether it's about freedom or sharing your voice or being heard or integrity, and you need to pour that into your mission behind your jewelry brand. You could even create certain pieces, right, that use power phrases or power words that go along with that topic, that subject that lights you up. And that will go really, really far for you.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome, Tiffany. I think that it's really important that people get clear on what is their motivation. What are those pain points? What lights them up? What are the topics? I think a lot of people's rights, like people's rights that are getting violated or enforced or whatever. And then also like people can think back to their upbringing, their childhood. When did they feel maybe not like sexually abused, but like violated? Like when did your dad? For me, is like my dad said, like, why don't you just like stop asking questions and just enjoy the ride, So it's like, for me, that shut down my curiosity. And so I recognized a few years ago that curiosity is something that's super important to me, because underneath that is growth, and growth for everyone. Like, I want everyone to be growing and becoming their best self. So it's like I got the opportunity to reignite that, and that's why I do this 12-hour marathon, because I looked back at what is the driver. What were those moments where I felt betrayed or lost or most confused, most hurt, kind of thing. And from that, we can source the wisdom and the guidance and the direction of, hey, what is my source really here to bring forth into this world? What am I being guided by? What are the values? What's the vision of the world that I'm here to create?
I mean, and you can just tell by your energy level that this is your thing. I mean, I'm a former professional journalist, and you're a very, very good interviewer.
Thank
you. This is clearly your thing, because you have the natural curiosity. Like, your questions are genuine. You are genuinely intrigued by people and their stories. And it's obvious. And it's working for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you. What have you learned since you started your show, Project Me with Tiffany Carter?
What I learned is how bizarre people can be. Meaning, here's what I can tell the difference between someone who's success-minded and someone who's headed for a business failure. Okay, you guys, businesses fail. The likelihood of a business failing is almost as high as a marriage failing. And those stats are not pretty. And I get why, just as I get the marriage failure thing, I get the business thing. It is amazing how many people don't show up for their business, don't appreciate free press. don't know how to find a way, even though it can be uncomfortable, to brag and promote themselves in their business. And it's like, you don't get comfortable with that, you're not going to make much money, because people need to know what you do.
Yeah.
So I learned that. The other thing is, coming from my other business I have, that's all corporate clients. Very, very different situation than dealing with small business owners, solopreneurs. It is more emotional. There is a lot more mindset blocks. It is really different. And I'm glad that I started with the podcast prior to doing any coaching or any services like that.
Really?
Because I was able to be really aware, okay, this is different. Because I was so used to dealing with corporate people.
Right.
First off, corporate people, guess what? Their ass might be on the line. They might have a budget, but ultimately it's not their cash or their business. That's a very different energy than it is when you're dealing with someone where, no, it is their cash. It is
baby.
their business. It's their baby. It's very different. And thank God I picked up on that quick.
Wow.
So that I could even myself be emotionally prepared and ready to help and work with people who are on that level, because it is totally different.
Wow. So did you have to be prepared for the emotions that would come up to coach people through the emotionality versus corporate was more logical kind of thing?
Right. I wanted to dive in to strategy.
Right.
Okay. We need to make, Miss Hardcore Businesswoman Virgo over here. I'm like, so we need to, what are your revenue streams? What are we going to do in order to create a funnel to drive traffic to this? We want a high offer, low offer, mid offer.
Right.
And what I realized is, nope, you have to start with the mindset work. Most people's mindsets are broken. Now, not to say mine wasn't. We know mine was. I had no self-worth. No. Mine was broken too. I've just done a shitload of work on it. And stuff still comes up, right? It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. Money mindset stuff comes up. I still wake up once in a while in a cold sweat that I'm going to end up in a tent. It's just stuff comes up, right? You have more money, so you have big money problems, right? You might put more on the line. My coach is worth $100 million, and he recently had a hotel chain business deal for $50 million, and he was saying to me he has heartburn and all this stuff because think about it. That's 50% of his net worth.
Damn.
That's a lot of money, even though we're talking 50 million, right? You're like, the guy still has another 50 million, but it's all relative. So what I learned quickly is most people's mindsets are incredibly broken from years and years of conditioning that stem all the way back to childhood. And if that isn't reworked, retooled, and fixed, whatever money I could help you make, you will end up sabotaging it and losing it anyway.
Wow. What do you find are the biggest keys to shifting someone's mindset?
Finding the root. So I have a series of questions and exercises, because most of this mindset stuff we're not conscious of. It's buried. Because it was programmed so early on. You guys ever notice when you hang out with someone enough, you start talking like them? At least people who hang out with me or listen to my show, they start using phrases that I use. And it's like, oh my God, I'm talking like you. I'm like, I love it. Okay. So you start talking like the person, or you're married to someone, you start saying similar things. Well, that's human nature. We're not even aware it's happening. It's just happening. That's what happens in childhood. That's what happens with long-term significant relationships or friendships or bosses. So we take in someone going, oh, we don't have money for that. We don't have enough money for that. We can't afford that. Rich people are evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. God, you're so the ones I heard, which is crazy given how wealthy I grew up, was I'm a spoiled brat.
No.
I'm a spoiled brat. I wanted and needed too much, but anything I needed was too much, right? But I didn't know that. Yeah. So that was driven in. I'm a spoiled brat. I'm a spoiled brat. I'm a spoiled brat. So then when I started, I was older and I started dating. Well, what do you think happened? The men I dated would say versions of that. All you care about is money. Meanwhile, I never asked them for a fucking dollar. I never. All you care about is making money. All you care about is money.
Wow.
You only want luxurious things, and it all hit back to that spoiled brat thing, right? So that's how sneaky this stuff is. How that translates into losing money is when I really started making heavy cash, I felt so much guilt for it.
What?
Because it made me, the more money I had, the more Tiffany's all about money. Wow. That must be true. What my mom would call me must be true. What those guys I dated said about me must be true. Now I have multiple like Louis Vuitton bags and I'm flying first class, and that must be true. That doesn't feel good. So subconsciously, I ended up sabotaging myself. I had $1 million in the bank by the time I was 30, and I lost almost all of it in 3 months by trusting the wrong person. It's that sneaky. So all that money I earned was basically all gone because it was subtle. I didn't really deep down feel I deserved it. I felt really uncomfortable having that amount of wealth. Wow. That's what I mean by, if you don't do this work, someone you could win the lotto. That's why I say on my YouTube channel, Project Me TV, one of my opening lines in like the main, intro video is 70% of people who win the lotto go bankrupt. Because you could hand someone money, but if their mindset isn't strong, and most people's aren't because they haven't done the work, you will subtly sabotage it. You'll feel guilty that you won. So you'll start handing money to, Peter, Paul, and Joe. You'll overspend. You'll make business investments without doing your own research and due diligence. You'll just, trust someone who sounds good. This is all what can happen. And it happened to me. I mean, I didn't win the lotto, but I accumulated a lot of money, and I lost it all by trusting the wrong person and not, so to speak, reading the fine print.
Damn. That's crazy. So it's like really, it's the mindset. Once we get that dialed in, we get to find out what's the root causes. Those are the biggest things to look for, and to be aware of, why am I blocked, what's stopping me, and to like be aware of what comes up.
Right. You need to be aware of it. It has to come up first. You be aware of it. And then I have exercises to reprogram and reframe and train your mind. And it's not as simple as, okay, I was always told like rich people are evil. So then I develop a mantra saying, rich people are incredible or something. It's not as simple as that because our minds are so cunning.
Yeah.
What I found that works in coaching thousands of people, doing tons of speaking events, is our brains, that like fear belief system, if we fill it, combat it with facts, that's what works for our brain. So I always tell people this: when you have a thought that comes up, let's just say, God, I can't ever seem to get ahead. I hear a lot of people say that. Every time I get ahead, I seem to go backwards, when it comes to money or something. Then ask yourself, is that absolutely 100% true? And most people have to take time to pause and go, well, yeah, I mean, it is. No, is it 100% true that just happens? That the universe strikes you and this just happens? As I'm staring at their fresh set of acrylic nails. Thank you. Which, I do the math with people. It's like, don't come to me and tell me you don't have money and you got a fresh manicure. That shit doesn't work on me.
So it's like being able to acknowledge everything that proves the limiting belief wrong. And like when we accumulate that and remember that and have like lists of things that disprove whatever the block or limiting belief is, then that's the fastest way to break through it.
It is, because we can't cover up a lie, right? This belief that we believe it. Even though it's false, we believe it to be true. We can't replace that with something that sounds like a lie. They say, I'm very big into manifestation, but I call it like practical manifestation. You can't, like, let's say you have $10 in the bank. and you don't want to be broke anymore. And to have a mantra or something like that that says, I am a millionaire. That's not going to work on a human brain. We're far too sophisticated.
Yeah.
We're just too sophisticated for that. So we need to go deeper on why are you broke? You know, what is going on with this poverty mentality, and then combat it with facts. What are the facts here? You know, it's hard to earn a lot of money. You know, people have that. Is that absolutely, without a doubt, 100% true? And everyone always pauses and goes, well, and then they start, if you can't say, right, yes, then it's no. It's not true. It's not true, right? Yeah. Are you going to become a millionaire working at McDonald's? No. Could someone working at McDonald's end up as a millionaire? Absolutely. Yep. And we have a lot of stories in history, you can Google it, of people who started working in fast food who are now millionaires.
Yep. I love it.
I love facts. Always combat fiction.
Boom. Dropping that truth bombs. Tiffany, we are wrapping up now. If there is like one final piece of wisdom you want our audience to get from this interview and take action on, what is that?
You know what? I would say start now in finding ways to build passive income streams.
Amen.
Find at least one other way, aside from your job, aside from seeing clients, that you can start building and making money over time. Even if it's $1 at a time, you need to start, because magic happens in your own mindset when you start seeing you can make money without your direct and constant involvement. And it's really, really cool what the domino effect that occurs from that. So I would say do that for yourself in terms of money. In terms of mindset, write down every single thing you think of about money when you go back to your childhood. I would say that's a really good starting exercise. And then look at, how does this show up in my life now? And there's no way you're not going to see a ton of connections.
I love it, Tiffany. This is gold, and our audience is hungry for more Tiffany Carter. How do they stay connected with you? What's the next step for them?
The best way to reach out to me is hit me up on Instagram at Project Me with Tiffany, or message me on Facebook at Project Me with Tiffany. Those are the two best ways to find me. You can also listen to my podcast, and that's Project Me with Tiffany Carter. You can just Google that, and it's everywhere, or go to my website at Project Me with Tiffany.
I love it. And how often do you release episodes?
We do 2 episodes a week. One is an interview and one is solo. What's different about my show is I interview people who are at all different levels of entrepreneurship. Some people are what they call side hustling. Some people are beginners. Some people are multi-millionaires. I like showing people from all different industries and facets of life, so that it can be more relatable. Just having on uber successful people can almost make people not as excited, because it seems so far out of reach. So I like to have people on from all different backgrounds and are at all different levels of building their business.
I love it, Tiffany. Thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate your big heart and what you've overcome, and being able to share that with these women so that they can have a stand for not being controlled by anyone or anything. You know, like literally having the giving them back their power. Like really, you're giving them back their power, and people in general, you know, helping them to start their residual and passive incomes. Like that's freedom. And I think that's what everyone wants. They want to be able to do what they want when they want. And I just really acknowledge you for showing up and developing that capacity in yourself, and now passing the torch to so many people so they can do it too.
Oh, thank you for saying that. It's my honor and my pleasure to be here. I hope that I brought some value to your show.
Definitely.
And I'm super proud of everything you're doing. And I will be an avid viewer and listener from now on.
Yes. I appreciate you, Tiffany. You rock. Keep shining. We'll see you soon, okay?
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.